you a brief introduction to what you're looking at whenever you log into this website for the first time. So over here in this panel on the left-hand side are all the different resources that we have available. Then if you look here along the top, these are actually our top matches based on our matching algorithm. Now, whenever you create your NRMN account, you're going to be asked to fill out a series of profile questions and even little other tidbits and trinkets and things that you can input about yourself. And what we do is actually utilize all of that information as well as how you're interacting in the system to actually create a dynamic matching algorithm. And so that way it'll recommend people for you here for you to connect with. Then down the center, you also have this Find a Mentor, which I will show you that in just a minute, but it's actually one of our two main one-on-one mentoring connection or mentoring mechanisms. We also have this Ask a Mentor feature, which I'll be going over later. Then down the center, we have our your timeline or your news feed where it has everything linked out from anybody that you're connected to, any group that you're a part of, and even within our Ask a Mentor feature, all of that gets posted here. Then over here on the right-hand side, these are all things that are signature to you based on activities that you have personally engaged within. So up here, I'm actually a part of a cohort that's called NRMN Mission. That's a specific research project going out through one of our UO1s. And so that's all those links are right here. Then I'm engaged in two different mentoring connections, and these are from the one-on-one guided virtual mentoring known as My Mentor. I'm actually in a mentoring connection right now with our new digital communication strategist, Gabrielle. And then I'm also a part of the NRMN mission program as well. So I've got a mentoring connection through there too. Finally, we also have My Connections here, and that's just a list of everybody with whom you're connected and easy links for you to reach out and connect with them and actually converse with them. You can also view more and see everybody that you're connected with as well. And then finally, we have the recommended groups. And again, this is utilizing that matching algorithm that we have in the system. And it's really just trying to recommend other groups for you to reach out and connect with and actually join. All right, so first and foremost, I'm going to go over this search feature because really, whenever you first come into this system, especially if you're trying to get acclimated with it or see what even is here, this is really the key place to get started. So it tells you to search members, groups, etc. But it's really that etc. to me that is this real key point here, because what you want to do is actually come in and enter in keywords. And I like to start with something really, really broad because we will give you the opportunity to narrow down your focus from there. But start with something really broad, such as biology. So we can see from the search term biology, we're yielding over 3,000 results. Now those results for this particular search term yields members, which can be further filtered down to mentees and mentors. It yields groups, questions, which pertain to this Ask a Mentor feature, which I'll be going into later, as well as this journal feature, which I will also be going into later, because that pertains to this My Journals and My NRMN Journals. Next, you can also filter down by institution, by more specific interests, like I just mentioned, concepts, if there are any mentioned, as well as location. So then whenever you're actually looking at all of this, I know there's a lot of little buttons. I'm going to go over what all of these are. So first and foremost, I want to mention that my profile within this system is a mentor profile. And you can still see that I am able to request mentoring from anybody else who is a mentor in the system. And that's because within my NRMN, we really believe that mentoring is a life cycle and that you never stop needing mentoring. None of us is ever going to end up being perfect. And we always have the opportunity to be able to reach out and ask questions for other people. So what I like to point out is that anybody in the system can reach out and request mentoring from any other mentor in the system. And whenever you do that, you simply click request mentoring, update your CV or resume, and then you send them a message. Now, what I want to point out is that this particular mentoring is what I like to call self-structured mentoring, because it's actually up to the person requesting to initiate what this mentoring is going to be about, how long it's going to be, what type of connection it's going to be, and really just setting up the boundaries for what this mentoring connection is intended to be. So within here, I've had some people reach out and say, hey, you know what, can I just have 15 minutes of your time? And then that's it. And then I've had other people say, hey, can you be my go-to mentor for this particular project I'm working on? And then others have even taken it a step further and saying, hey, can you be my go-to person? Just whenever I have a question about this in general, just across the board. So that's kind of the different structures of mentoring. But like I said, it's up to the mentee or the person requesting to determine what type of mentoring connection this is going to be. Now, this is in contrast to our My Mentor, which is again that one-on-one guided virtual mentoring. Now, I do normally go into My Mentor and go through all the different mechanisms of it, and it's really, really fascinating. But today, I'm actually going to focus on some of our other aspects that are more signature just for individuals getting started in the system. So if you do have any questions on My Mentor or want to see further into that, please reach out. We would love to hear from you. And I can definitely walk you through that or provide instruction or even just give some additional insight on that one. But for now, I'm going to continue going through all the buttons on here. So if you are not connected with anybody, you're welcome to reach out and request a connection from them. Additionally, we also have this Ask Me a Question feature. Now, the reason we added this is because we found that a lot of people were really hesitant whenever they first joined the network to actually just directly reach out and request to connect with someone that they don't know and someone who has a high position at the university, someone who just they were intimidated to reach out to. And we really wanted to bridge that and make it just easier to reach out and talk to people. So we included this Ask Me a Question, which really just prompts you to say, hey, can I get to know you a little bit? Hey, I'm really interested in biology and I see you came up on my search term for biology. And, I just wanted to know a little bit about what you do and what your research is. So that's just a way to get started, to build that dialogue, to hopefully build up the confidence to ask that person for a networking connection. All right, so next I'm going to go into this Ask a Mentor feature. But first, I want to actually show you where this is displayed and how this kind of works. So we're going to work through this a little bit backwards today. So this is actually a result of that Ask a Mentor feature. And you can see here it's tagged here as Ask a Mentor. Now, what happens whenever somebody utilizes this Ask a Mentor feature is that they pose a question out to the broad community. It doesn't just have to be to someone with whom they're connected. And it actually goes out to everybody and posts onto their wall. So that way anybody can come back and post. And then if you have it set up, then you can also go in and make it so that you receive this in an email too. So you can jump right in and respond to it. So this person specifically asked, I want to study bioinformatics as my master's of science. I need your help. So if anybody has any information on this, if anybody has any suggestions for what they can do, they can click answer and then just post that answer. So that's where this shows up whenever you post to this Ask a Mentor feature. So now what happens whenever you come in here is you would either, I clicked on this already just to troubleshoot some things this morning to make sure that I had everything ready to go. So it didn't pop up for me just now, but normally whenever you come in, it will pop up with this pop up for you. So like it said, it provides you a little bit of instruction on how to phrase your question, and then you can start with adding your question here. Now, if you want this question to be searchable, such as being able to be found and this feature here, then you can add a tag in there too, such as just anything that you're wanting related to that. So that way, if someone is searching for that topic, then they would be able to answer this question for you as well. But what you do is pose a question here and then click Submit Question. And then they come down and get posted here. So we can see there are some that we are waiting for answers on. I need to go in and answer some of these, as I do have an answer for some of them. But you can see other people have actually come in and answered these questions. It is possible for these to also start as a thread, but this is a great way for you to actually connect and start talking with people and have people reach out to you with information that you're not actually connected with in the system. And that's a really great way to get to know people and actually bridge that connection, or even just find information from people that you never even thought to ask. So from there, you can also come in and search by category and actually cycle through these and see what's there. You can actually search if you want to put in a search term and search through these questions and see if something you want to ask has already been answered. But all of that is right here and available. And people come in and, like you can see, answer these all the time and just want to provide help and resources for other people. So next, I'm going to go into this My Journals feature. Now, I like to think about this as everyone's personal blog space, where you can come in and post a journal entry that's just about you and just what your thoughts and feelings are for that day. So I like to think of this, like I said, as a personal blog entry, but know that this can either be kept private, which does mean that it will post on your wall. And so anyone you're connected to will be able to see it. Or you can make it public, which means it posts out for the entire My NRMN community. Now, if you do want to post it out for the entire community, I would recommend entering tags in as well, just so that it is more searchable. And again, so that way it'll populate here within the search field if anybody wants to search that topic and even connect with you based on that topic. So then you can come in, write your post here. You can even add images and things. And then if you're ready to post it, you can go ahead and click publish. If not, you can save it as a draft and come back to it later. However, once you publish it, and we'll pretend like we published it publicly, then it would get posted here to this My NRMN journals. And we can see here that there are all kinds of things that people post in here. So some of them are seeking mentoring. Some of them are posting about a fan club. Others, I've seen people post in their goals for uh, an upcoming conference or something that they're working on or something for the new school year, or even posting about an abstract that they had published. And so there's all different kinds of things that people are posting in here that they just want to share with a broader community. And this can also be a great wealth of information too if you come in and search through here. So wanted to share that as well. And again, this is like your own personal blog space, so you can share whatever is on your mind, whatever you're working on, even whatever you need help with if you want people to be able to reach out and connect with you from that. So next I'm going to go into this My Publications. Now this is a feature that we launched because the NIH changed up how they wanted people to uh, apply for their grant applications or submit their grant applications, excuse me. So really they made it a requirement for everyone to sync their ORCID ID with their grant application. And so what we did to kind of just help facilitate that and get people ready for that is give them the opportunity to be able to create their ORCID ID if they don't have one and go ahead and sync it up here. So you can see I've got mine already synced, but if I didn't have an ORCID ID, there would actually be a button right here that would say create my ORCID ID. And if you're not familiar with what ORCID ID is, it's just a repository for you, I'm sorry, not a repository, but really a list for you to sync all of your publications with. So you can really have your CV tied into that, and then it'll also populate all of your publications as well. It is a free account, completely free. So I recommend anybody, if you think that you're going to be applying for grants, or if you think that you're ever going to want to have publications or anything of that, I would go ahead and create one. Like I said, it's free. You can sync it up here, and this will all feed into our dynamic matching algorithm. Now, if you don't have an ORCID ID, you don't want to sync it yet, or just whatever the situation, you can also sync publications from PubMed. Now, this will pull based on your full name here, but you can also add aliases as well. So maybe if I was to publish anything under K Stinson or with my first and middle initials in Stinson, I could add those in here and it would populate that as well. So I'm just going to pull this so you can see how it works. I already know the publication that I'm a part of has not synced up with PubMed yet, and I haven't added it to my ORCID profile yet. But we can see here it is pulling from Stinson. Unfortunately, this is not me, but if it was, I could leave this on my profile. And then anytime someone came in and was doing a keyword search for any of the words that are in here, my article would populate for that, and I would be somebody that you could connect with or reach out and ask mentoring from. For example, if you wanted to put in mindfulness or meditation or chronic pain here, all of that stuff would be keyword searchable within the search feature. Now, because this one is not actually me, unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and delete this from my page. And from there, you can see that this is no longer here. And so it's really, really simple to come in, download all of your publications, and then just omit any of the ones that aren't yours. There is also the opportunity to add in your own publication. So maybe if it's not syncing up with a PubMed resource, or you haven't synced it with your ORCID profile, but you want to add it in, you can still do that here and it will populate there too. So next I want to go into the calendar feature. Whoops, excuse me there. There we go. So here is the calendar feature. Now, anything that you have within My NRMN, any appointment that is scheduled, any meetup that is scheduled, any event that is out in one of your My groups, all of that will sync up to your own calendar here. Now, something else too is that you've seen this green schedule a video call button at the top of every single screen within My Mentor. Anytime you click on this, it'll also bring you into the calendar page. That way you can set that up. So what I want to point out first is this office hours. So anybody who drops in their office hours, it'll prompt you to fill out when these are. And then when someone actually goes to your page within their connections, they'll be able to see when your office hours are and actually request meetings during those times. So that's something that's just really helpful if you need to block off specific times for people to ask to meet with you. Um, we've seen this utilized a lot whenever professors bring in their entire classes into this, but also when there are groups where you want people to meet up and do group mentoring and that type of thing. It just is really beneficial. But something else too that I can also point out while I have this going. Um, oh, Sue, yes, I will get to your question in just a second. But so whenever you're going through, you will need to add participants. All participants that you add will need to be someone with whom you're connected. And so that way you can actually go through and add those individually. But you can also change it to be different types of meetings. So whenever we are no longer in a pandemic, or if you are just local and everyone's being safe, you can definitely meet up face to face. You can also change it to an immediate video call, which would be the schedule a video call feature, or you can tag it as any other thing. Um, and so all of that is here. Then to answer your question, you can also sync this calendar up with your personal calendar. We also have this email or enable email alerts. I would recommend leaving this on because it makes it so much simpler. But for me, even though this is going to send me an alert 1 hour in advance, I also want to be able to look and see when my appointments are and not have to check multiple calendars at the beginning of every day. So what you can do is actually copy and paste this link into a new tab. And then once you click enter, whenever you have that link entered into the bar here, then it'll actually pop up with instructions for how to sync that with your calendar. And it will sync with an Outlook calendar, a Google calendar, really any other online calendar that you have, it will sync up with that. So that is for the calendars. So next and the last thing I want to go over today is the My Files. Now this is a file repository and there is no limit to how much you can drag and drop into here. Now, so you can either have your, Finder window open and drag everything in, or if you want to double click this, it'll also populate your Finder window and that way you can drop any files in. But within here, anything that you add, you will have all of these three little buttons here. So something else too is that whenever you add a file here, it will populate within your news feed. So other people that you're connected to will also see that file. But if there is someone specific that you want to share that file with, you do need to be connected with them. But from there, I could go in and say, let me share this with Heather. She's the one I work with. So I can go in and share this file directly with Heather and it'll send it to her in a message. So that way, even if she misses it on my news feed, she would be able to see it just, from a message because it would go directly to her. And I'm not actually going to send it to her. But anything that you also upload, you can go in and edit and add tags to, and that just makes it where it's that much more searchable and easy to find if you want someone else to be able to find it. And then finally, you can also delete it off there. Now, if somebody else has shared a file with you, for example, this file was shared with me, I don't have the option to edit it or to take it off, but I can also further continue sharing that with other people. Leave that up there. So you can see here, this is just a really easy way to share files. You don't have to worry about getting bogged down with the size of the files or anything of that nature, but it does make it where it's just really easy to share things with people with whom you're connected here. And that also goes as far as if you want to share anything here, you can also easily add that into your My Groups and just share that in other mechanisms as well. So it really makes it easy to share things throughout the entire system and even use what you share to help people find you and connect with you in the system and actually broaden your network through that mechanism. So I know we still have some time. I want to leave time for questions, but I also want to go ahead and start opening it up for questions as well. If anybody has anything, like I said, I know I didn't go over a lot, but if you have questions about these other things, we've got some time to dive into that. Otherwise, I can just keep showing you features as I'm going along. So I will give it about 30 seconds to a minute for people to post in their questions into the chat. But for now, yeah, One thing I will point out while we're waiting to see if there are any questions is within the My Profile. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is actually specifically for a mentor profile. But basically, we know that the mentors who are coming into our system and volunteering their time also usually have full-time jobs. They have their own mentees on their own campus. Usually they're a part of multiple societies and organizations, a lot of times even chairing those societies and organizations. Plus, they have personal lives outside of all of that. So they are very busy people. And so we really want to respect their time whenever they are dedicating that to this cause and to this initiative. So whenever a mentor knows that they need to step away or finds that they need to step away, they can put on an out of office. Now, within this out of office, they can also set a start and end date if they want. So let's say you're going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, you can set it for that exact 2 weeks to be out. If it's going to be indefinite, you're not sure when you're going to be back, you can leave it indefinite and not enter in a date. So it really is up to you on how you want to control this and orchestrate this. But we do have that option for mentors in the system. And this will just make it so that your name isn't going to populate. You're not going to be able to be requested as a mentor from other people in the system. So from there, so I just wanted to point that out there. That is something that is just for mentors in the system. And again, this also is our matching algorithm, or not our matching algorithm, excuse me, the profile. And you can see here, there's a lot of stuff that we are utilizing within the system to go into the matching algorithm. However, the main thing I want to point out from here is that most of these things, actually all of these things, are not available for anybody else to search in the system. However, if those are things that you identify with and things that you feel are important for people to know about you are absolutely welcome to put anything that you like within this About Me section. And so that way, if that is something that you want to share, you can absolutely include it here. And this About Me section is also keyword searchable by our matching algorithm to help people find you. All right, I haven't seen any new, oh, I just saw a question. All right, is the system open for anyone to join? Like, can we share it with our undergraduate students? Excellent question, Sue. So this platform, or my NRMN specifically, it is open to anyone 18 years and up. However, per NIH stipulation, anyone who would like to join as a mentee must be a US citizen, a permanent resident, or a non-citizen US national. So by and large, most of your undergraduates are definitely welcome to join. We do ask that people in high school, even if they are 18, they just wait until they get to college to join, just because everything here is really tailored for people that are already at the undergraduate level. Um, but I also like to point out that for anybody who is, you know, not able to join as a mentee in the system, they still can join and take advantage of the resources here. Everything I have shown you today is stuff that is available to everyone in the system, not specifically just mentees or mentors. So it's something that there are still resources here available for everyone, even if you're not able to join in the system as a mentee. All right, excellent question. Thank you. Um, are there, go ahead and give it another minute or so if there are any additional questions that come in. So while we're waiting on that, this is my favorite feature in this system. It is the My CV Resume Builder. And so the reason I love this is because I came from the business world and then have now transitioning into STEM. And the business CV, or actually the business resume, as they call it, is it's one page. You fit everything on one page. It's only your last 3 jobs, maybe some extracurriculars, and that's about it. It really is just one and done. Whereas the STEM CV wants to know everything and wants to be as broad as possible and really wants to be expansive and see every little bit of everything you've ever done. And that is really intimidating to create from the get-go. So this is a great way that walks you through everything you need to know and everything you need to include within your STEM CV to really make it as fleshed out as possible. Now, some STEM CVs, particularly if you're applying for medical school, do require you to have a photo there. I choose not to have my display or we use our profile picture for this. I choose not to display it, but you can also choose to have that if that's something that's required of your STEM CV or if you just want to. You can also pick your resume color, and then you also just work your way through all of these. Now, I want to point out that I did not include any social links on here, and that's okay because once you get done with everything to the way that you want it filled out, you click publish. And then you get this beautiful chartreuse bar up at the top of your screen. Now, whenever you click that, it actually opens up to your STEM CV. Now you can see, keep in mind, I left out a lot of things to that I didn't want to include on this, and it formatted outside of that. So something else too is that once you come in and make this and you have that unique URL, anything that you come in and update will automatically update once you click publish again. And that URL will stay exactly the same. So if you wanted to convert this to a QR code or post this somewhere, you wouldn't need to post a new QR code or post a new URL every single time that you made any updates to it. You could actually just keep updating this and you wouldn't have to make version after version after version after version in order to make sure it stayed up to date. Instead, you could just keep sharing that same link and it would keep routing to this. And then you can also download a PDF of that as well. All right, I saw a new question. Does the platform have any settings to get alert emails? I remember I used to get alerts for requests or messages, but have stopped getting them. So one thing I will say is that if you are not getting emails anymore, I know they are still definitely going out. So check your junk or spam folder. If you are getting emails that are going to that, I would definitely make sure to mark them as not junk. And if you continue to get those, please let us know, because there are things that we can do to try and mitigate those going into your junk and spam folders if those are things that you want to get. Um, so then also getting alerts for requests and messages. Yeah, I would definitely check your junk or spam folder. If at any time you ever did request to not receive those anymore, say at the bottom of the email where it said unsubscribe to that, and if you ever did that, let us know, or even reach out to me individually and I can go in and check and see if you're on that do not subscribe list or unsubscribe list, and we can definitely remove you from that. I'm going to put my email address in here now. And if you want me to check on your name and see if you are on that unsubscribe list, let me know, reach out to me, and I can definitely look at that for you. Let's see. So a new question. Does the STEM CV align with NIH requirements for grant writing, for example? That would be so nice if there was an option to format with NIH requirements. I have to admit, I was not aware that they had different requirements. I know that NIH does require a particular format for the bio sketch. And for that, we have actually linked that out within the NRMN website. Let me see. I believe it's within here, the create your bio sketch. Let's see. So we have that linked out here, and it actually links out to the NIH requirement for creating your bio sketch. Unfortunately, I will have to check on that and see if this matches the NIH requirements for a CV. Okay, bio sketch is what you meant. Excellent. So yeah, we have that linked out from our homepage rather than within my NRMN, strictly because that is something that is available to everyone, even if you're not accessing it through NRMN. So we have that available on the homepage. Excellent. We have lots of questions today. I like it. Thank you all. All right. I'm going to give it another minute or so in case there are any other questions that come in. All right, something I do want to mention, if anyone is a mentor on this, or if anybody is a mentor in the future and you would like to engage in the My Mentor, just make sure all mentors must enroll to be in My Mentor and to be found in My Mentor. So whenever you first come into the system, just make sure to enroll in My Mentor, and that way people can reach out and find you and request you for that guided virtual mentoring. Oh, that is a good idea. So there was a recommendation that feeding the information from your CV, from the My CV resume, into the NIH BioSketch format, that would be a really cool feature. I will definitely be adding that to our what we call our operational meeting, where we discuss new features and how to develop those. So thank you for that recommendation. I will definitely be adding that to our agenda for this week. All right. So we still have a little bit of time left. I want to give it about another minute or so if there are any new questions that come in. All right, so while we're doing that, I want to point out within my groups. So a lot of people ask if anybody can create a group. And the answer is yes. Any mentor or mentee in the system can create a new group. And so what they would just need to do is come in and click this button for create new group. And from there, I'll actually show you. Here's a group that I always use as a demo. You can tell I'm a part of a lot of groups. I help a lot of organizations create a group and get their group started. So I end up having a lot of them in my own my groups. But from within here, so I am an owner of this group. And something that's really cool about that is that I have access to metrics for this group. So we have a lot of people that will come in and say, hey, I've got the SACNAS chapter at my university, or we've got the summer research program that we're doing, and we want to have all of our meetings online somewhere that can be recorded. And whenever you do all of that, you can actually see aggregate measures, excuse me, aggregate metrics for all of the different things that you can do within the system. And then you can also narrow down that field. So if you need it just to be recording for the summer or just get aggregate for a semester, you can do all of that here. So within all of these groups, anybody can put in a message, put in a post, and even share files back and forth. If someone does share files, then they will get automatically added to this files link. So that way they're just automatically archived and they're just easy for anybody else to access as needed. Then you can also upload an image. This is just a compilation of 10 images. It's not actually 10 separate images there. You can also schedule events here, which will be synced up with your personal calendar. Then you can have multiple owners on the group and even change out the owners. Now we only have 2 owners on this one, again, because this is mostly a demo group. Um, but you can actually have more owners than that. I've seen upwards of 10 owners because it was a particular group that needed that. But you can have, there is no limit to how many owners you can have on that particular group. And then same with members, there can be any number of members within the group as well. And then down here, you can see a history of the group too. Like I said, this one is a demo, so it's just barely populated, but all of that stuff is in here in case you need it. And then also, so I click the edit group here, but whenever you're creating a new group, it'll look and have the exact same feel to this. These will all just be empty. But for your group, if you would like to create one, you can designate one of 4 different group types. So you can have a public group, which means anybody can find it, anybody can join it. You can have a private group, which means that nobody can search for it. And the only people that will know this group exists are those that have actually been invited to the group itself. You can also have an invite only group, which means that it is searchable, but that somebody either has to receive an invite in order to be able to join it. They will be able to request an invite, but they will have to be granted access to that actual group. And then there's also an announcements group. And this is very similar to the Facebook fan pages where you can subscribe to the group, but there's no actual interaction with the participants of that group. Every group does also have its own unique URL, and that can actually be customized to match whatever the group is called. You can also go ahead and upload resources. Those will all go into that file section. If you are having a larger group on here, or if it's something where you're bringing in a specific group for, actual interactive nature kind of things, then I would definitely recommend putting in best practices, expectations for communication and that type of thing into these resources. And that way those will just always be available. We also have the enable group notifications email. That is defaulted to be on. You can turn it off, but I would recommend if you want people to see when things are posted to leave that on. And then here's where you would add in whoever is going to be a member of this group, and you can add and subtract those off. If they are currently a member of NRMN, then you could search for them here. If not, then you could just copy and paste their email address in here, and then that would invite them in. And it would also invite them in to create their NRMN profile and then invite them into the group. Excuse me, I should have mentioned that. And then the same thing for the members too. And then here is where you would actually upload that image. So that's actually how you would go about creating a group and getting started and all of that. But I would definitely recommend if you're interested in joining a special interest group or just seeing, what is available here, I would go ahead and search the My Groups feature and see if anything is available for what you are already wanting to join. And if not, if you don't find one, then I would recommend creating one for yourself. And then that way you can get that started and start networking with other people. Last thing I'll point out here is this opportunity board. As Brady mentioned earlier, we are adding a jobs board, which will be added any day now. It's coming really, really soon. Um, and whenever we transition and actually post that jobs board, we're going to be transitioning from utilizing this opportunity board to the jobs board. So everything that normally would get posted here will actually get posted in that jobs board section. And so that'll just make it a lot easier so that people aren't likely to stumble upon an old post or something. Instead, the jobs will actually be able to be posted with a time frame, so that way they'll time out after a designated amount of time. But that will probably be something we will feature in next month's how to leverage the NRMN webinar. Um, or I'm sorry, how to leverage the NRMN network webinar series in May. All right, so that is about time for us, and I don't see any new questions. So I want to thank you all for joining so much, and then I will turn it back over to Brady if for any sort of closing remarks. But if anyone does have any questions about my NRMN or wants to see anything that I wasn't able to show, or just wants a deeper dive into any of this, please reach out to me. I put my email address into the chat feature. It's katie.stinson@unthsc.edu, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have about this. And otherwise, I will turn it back over to Brady.
Thanks so much, Katie, and thank you everyone for joining us today. That was a great little teaser for our jobs board that's coming out. And like Katie said, any day now, so we definitely can't wait for that feature. And we're continuing to develop and update a lot of these features. So please, if you would like to attend another one of these webinars, please do so with the link that you used to register for this instance as well. And with that being said, just thank you so much for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your month and a great rest of your year. So thank you so much.